G'day guys, it's Jeff here from Bike Review, and I'm here to say goodbye to our long-term LiveWire, the Bike Review LiveWire. So you may have seen the previous two videos. I've had this bike for 3 months, one video a month, plus an article updating on how it's been. The reason I took the project on originally is because I sent someone to the world launch and we got that report, someone to the Aussie launch, we got that report. Paul Bailey did a track test, so we had Dave Manning, Simon Harris, Paul Bailey, everyone saying different things, all positive, all good. Lots of different reports about range and things like that, and I thought, I looked around and there's no real good long-term reviews on this with lots of Ks, so I've done about, I don't know, we've done nearly 3,000 Ks or something on it. And the purpose was to not use a fuel bike for transport at all for 3 months and not use the car unless I had to take the kids or carry something, and just try and work out what it's like to live with an EV bike. Now where I live up on the central coast of New South Wales, there's no charge stations, so I've never used one. I've only charged it at home, but I have to say in that whole 3 months I have never run out of charge, and I've never come that close. I've always made it home with like 3 or 4%, which is at least 6 to 10 Ks on economy mode or regen mode. What I've worked out in that time is, at first I got it and I'd take off on it and I'd go up to my local twisties and I'd have used 40 or 50% by the time I got there. Remember in the first video, I was worried about even getting home, and I only just made it home that day with a really short ride up and down the twisties, then back home. I've since then worked out routes, ways to ride it, which modes to use when, and put a few of my own custom modes in as well. I've got an A map for sporty riding. I've got a really economical map that's got lots of regen, and I've got a general use sort of transporting map. And I can get now 200 Ks out of a full charge is not a problem, and that's not urban riding. Like, I'm out here today and I'm with Nick Ware, my brother, and we've both been riding this bike, switching between regen mode, my economy map, and sports mode for when we want to have fun on the twisties. We've done about 110 Ks today all up, and it's still saying there's 80 Ks left. So I mean, that's pretty good, because we've come from the suburbs up out of town, like a good 40k ride to get up here where the hills and twisties are, and then buzzing up and down here for 50 or so Ks, and we're still going to get back through town, no problem at all. It's just about keeping it in mind, and think of it as you have a full tank of fuel and there's no petrol stations open. So you just got to be smart about where you go, and always turn around, no matter what, turn around when you know you have to get home. And if you do that, you're not going to run out. Like, you see some of these reviews and they run out and whinge about it and bitch and moan and pushing the bike around here and there and everywhere. It's just bad planning. It's not the kind of bike to use if you need to ride like that. It's a one ride and get home kind of bike. So personally, for most of the riding I do, which is transportation and runs up to places like this, I am fortunate that I live near twisties and stuff like that, and I have quite a good local area for riding. It suits someone like me who just goes and comes home. Obviously you have a different bike for touring, but if you're commuting, for instance, on the economy mode, you can get 2 to 2.5 kilometers per percent out of it. So if you have like a 20 kilometer commute every day, like 10 Ks there, 10 Ks back, you know, you're going to get a week out of a charge, which is pretty fantastic. It only costs a couple of bucks to charge it, you know, $2.70, $3 max. In terms of the motorcycle, forgetting that it's electric, it's been fantastic. Absolutely no problems with it at all. I like everything about it. I really can hardly fault anything about this bike. Got really firm, sporty suspension. I wish it did have a rear suspension linkage for a bit more progression, but it's got really good big piston forks, balance-free shock, shower both ends. I mean, it's got Brembo high-end brakes, really strong brakes, even without a radial pull master cylinder. It doesn't need any more brakes. For a heavy bike, it stops incredibly well. Oversized rear disc, really powerful rear brakes. The gearing's fantastic. It's got 100% of torque and power available from 0 RPM. I mean, this thing is quick, really quick, as quick as anything you're gonna ride on the road in terms of acceleration. The ergonomics suit me really well. It's very narrow, it's really comfortable for me. I'm 187 centimeters tall. I can ride it and ride it and ride it. The seat's really hard, but you know, you only ride it for about 3 hours. And by then you are a bit like, but like, I mean, that's the kind of bike it is. It gives you a lot of feel, that seat. The handling we've been through before. I mean, I've told you how good it handles. It is fantastic. I've got it even firmer than standard, which people will think is crazy because most people complain about it being too firm. But I've found the harder I ride it on the smoother twisties, the more and more I'm going up in spring and damping rates. But you can back all that up and have a comfy enough ride on the bumpier roads if you want to. What would I do if I was to keep this bike and own it? The first thing I'll do is get rid of the tyres and chuck some real sports tyres on it because they're not quite up to scratch. They don't have that edge feel and that edge grip feel. They're good over a broad range of temperature. They don't need warming up and stuff like that, but they're more of a sports touring feeling tyre in my opinion, right on the edge grip. I don't like the switch gear. It's old-fashioned Harley stuff, and the mirrors, this is stuff's like from years ago. So, I mean, I'd prefer it if they had more modern switches. It's really hard to go through the modes and ride at the same time. You end up jerky on the throttle like this, you pretty much can't do it. And even indicating and cancelling and turning on the right indicator, you have to shut the throttle half the time. It's a pain in the ass, and the menus are a pain. But the touch screen TFT dash is really easy to navigate as long as you're using your finger, and you can only do that when you're stopped, but you know, that's fine. That dash is awesome. There's lots and lots of options, and I've got the Harley app on my phone, so I can use it for navigation, music, connect it to my Cardo, and listen in my helmet, my Arrow helmet when I wear that. So that's great. The cruise control's fantastic on it. It's really, really intuitive and responsive to even small steps, which is amazing, and of course it's silky smooth, this bike. I have noticed it's got a bit rattlier over the last few thousand kilometers. This is not super well built around here, and under the seat the charger rattles around a bit like that, and it gets a bit annoying. So I have noticed that, and it's quite hard to tuck all that back in and shut it. And look, honestly, there's nothing else. This number plate holder came loose, so I just had to Loctite those bolts in. That came loose and hung down. Apparently that's a pretty common problem. Apart from that, I've been riding it almost every day. Nick Ware's ridden it, Mike Cameron has ridden it, Simon Harris has ridden it, Tim Holland's ridden it. I've been getting as many of our contributors and guys on it as possible, just to show them what it's like, and every single one of them was blown away. Phil Gollum rode it as well, and he said, I didn't want to like it, but I just love it. So look, it's every single person that's ridden this bike has been blown away by it. A, how fast it is, B, how smooth it is, and how well it handles. Most agree that they can't quite see the value. 55 grand's a lot of coin, or 50 grand's a lot of coin. It's the first ever Harley electric bike. So this is a real collector's item because they're called the LiveWire now. They don't have a Harley written on the tank. It says a LiveWire 1, and they're about, you know, up to 10 grand cheaper they're going to be than this. It's an identical bike. So these are going for a pretty good price. I know for a fact dealers are doing super duper deals on them at the moment. If you have the money, I wish I did, I would buy this straight away. In fact, you know, Paul Bailey, one of our main testers, he did the testing at Eastern Creek or Sydney Motorsport Park on it. He did 6 20-minute sessions, and he went and bought one. Now Paul's been racing for 40 years. He's an A-grader, and he bought an electric Harley. Can you believe that? And he absolutely loves it. He's raving about it. So look, it's been a really interesting project. Am I converted to electric? Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to ride the next electric bike, especially a full-size one like this. No disadvantages I have been able to find for my type of riding. Don't miss engine noise. I don't miss gears. I do have a few issues with it being a throttle that is activated all the time. I have spoken about that before. I have blipped the throttle accidentally at traffic lights and shot myself forward because I'm used to doing that with an engine. And the only other moment I've had is I was chasing Tim Holland on the old road, and we came into a corner and he was on his GSXR. In that last video you'll see when we sort of did old versus new and we were swapping bikes. And when I followed him into this hairpin that I chased him in, and I've been riding with Tim for 30 years. as soon as I heard him go whoom and rev it and downshift and chuck his jigsaw in, I did it on this. Like my hand, it just went like that on the throttle, my hand went like that on the clutch and my foot moved. Of course there's no clutch and there's no gear lever. But what did happen is that the bike, it accelerated instantly and it made me go from the inside lane on the left, shoot out to the right. And I had to go around that hairpin at full lean angle with the full brakes jammed on a damp road and get the electronics, got me around that corner. So yeah, I think they need some sort of system to arm them, just when you, at least when it's sitting there idling, like a power tool has, like an angle grinder, you know, or a power saw. You've got to press one button with your thumb and pull the trigger. Maybe they could have a little trigger on the left switch block that you press and release and go. In terms of that rev and downshift issue I had, that's just muscle memory. But overall, unbelievably impressed. You know, I'm a petrol head, so it's a massive surprise to me. And I know I had to ride this bike for 3 months to really do a fair test on it, because there's no way. It took me a month just to figure it out. It took me at least 1,000 Ks just to figure out the best way to go about living with this bike. But it's been fantastic. If you're thinking about buying one, don't hesitate. You'll really love it, as long as you don't have big range expectations and you're happy with 200 Ks, then you'll have a fantastic relationship with your LiveWire. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Jump on Bike Review for other written stories about this bike and our other reviews and tests, which you can see here on this link. Click on it. Take it easy. Have a good day. See ya.